The most vulnerable people in Moldova slowly file past the soaring parliament building below, each with their own personal story of deprivation and resentment. Some people scream, "We're a laughingstock, the government is mocking us." Alabama, who is wearing a blue wool hat, shoves her paled, wide face right up against mine and says, "There are people with 4 or 5 children who literally have nothing to eat." The president of Moldova claims that the cost of energy now represents more than 70% of household income. Alabama informs me that her pension was cut in half. This government promised to increase salaries and pensions when we elected them, but so far we haven't seen a penny, the woman claims. All over Europe and beyond, governments are keeping a close eye on Sunday's protests, which were organized by Moldova's pro-Russian SOR party. According to reports, the SOR party paid for the majority of the protesters' bus transportation to the capital city of Chisinau. President Maia Sandu warned that Russia was planning to send military-trained saboteurs into the country in order to overthrow her pro-Western government days before the meeting. According to Russia, the accusation is an effort by the authorities in Moldova to divert attention from their own social and economic shortcomings. Following numerous crises, the government of Moldova resigns. EU grants Moldova and Ukraine candidate status. Considering the war in Ukraine, Moldova is preparing for blackouts. Due to its strategic border location with Ukraine and the presence of a pro-Russian breakaway region, Moldova is reliant on Russian gas. In an effort to maintain unity among its populations of Russian and Romanian-speaking people, Chisinau's government came under pressure last year when Moscow cut its supply to Moldova by half. Beginning in the fall of last year, protests were held due to rising gas and electricity prices. Last Monday, during a press conference, President Sandu claimed that Russia had already tried to destabilize the situation in Moldova through the energy crisis, which she claimed was expected to cause major discontent among the population and lead to violent protests. According to her, the current plan called for diversionalists with military training, who would engage in violent action, launch attacks on buildings housing state institutions, or even take hostages. Following security checks, 57 citizens of countries friendly to Russia, including a group of Serbian soccer fans and several boxers from Montenegro, have been refused entry to Moldova in recent days. Additionally, this week Moldova's airspace was unexpectedly closed for a number of hours. According to Rojan Vasiloi, head of Moldova's border police, Russia is clearly an aggressor state. Since the start of the Ukraine war on February 24, he claimed, there has been a threat, but he emphasized that it was different now. It's a mix of threats from inside and outside Moldova. He thinks the risks for Moldova are lower as long as Ukraine fights on and prevails in the conflict. He declared, "Moldova is the next to fall if Ukraine does. I'm not scared, though." Since the start of the conflict, President Sandu's administration has worked to wean the nation off its reliance on Russian gas by diversifying its energy sources, but attacks on Ukraine's infrastructure and the price of importing electricity from Romania have made this difficult. She has argued that internal forces, such as the opposition SOR party, would be crucial to the alleged Russian plot, and she has urged Parliament to enact stricter security regulations. The General Secretary of SOR, Marina Tauber, led the demonstration outside of Parliament today and claims that her party supports the EU and favors friendly relations with all nations. Some members of her party, however, have admitted they would welcome Russian intervention. We meet Party Council Ariri Barenchai in the SOR stronghold of Orhai, an hour's drive north of the capital Chisinau. He assured me, "We're not afraid." If Russia wanted to take Moldova, they'd do it in a half-day. Ms. Barenchai is unambiguous when asked if she would welcome that. Yes, he answered, in my view. With Russia, we would be in a much better position than we are right now. Many in Chisinau believe that closer ties with the West are necessary to safeguard Moldova's independence and democracy at this crucial juncture. In Parliament, the party of President Sandu holds a commanding majority. However, Sunday's crowd outside the legislature had a different perspective, and there is a chance that the pressure will widen existing rifts in Moldova's diverse society. When Alabama and her friends were asked if they thought Russia intended to infiltrate Moldova as their president fears, the danger was obvious. They exclaim, "Yes, let them come. We need them to visit us. We'd like to be a part of Russia."